So you want to create that perfect sci-fi model you've always dreamt about, but as soon as you get into Blender, you realize you have no modeling skills. How do you get around this seemingly impossible roadblock? One quick solution I found to get around this is kit bashing. Kit bashing is traditionally taking small pieces from other projects and using them to your heart's content. In this video, I'm going to go through the process of creating a car with both quick modeling techniques and kit bashing parts to review the strengths and weaknesses of both. The kit I will be using in this video is the Mega Pack Sci-Fi Hard Service by Oleg Yushinok, which I bought about a year ago for $12. You can find the link to purchase these parts in the description of the video. I spent 5 minutes on both the modeling and the kit bashing parts, and I actually started with the modeling. I just wanted to show this because I know that's probably what you're most interested in. We all know how to model to an extent, but how do you really fit all these pieces together to make something that's really interesting? One of the first challenges I noticed is that when I was importing the different parts, they weren't necessarily the right size or rotation. And that's just going to be an issue with the parts that you get. Some might be like sticking up the right way, some might be sticking up the wrong way. It wouldn't really matter if I didn't have 5 minutes for this to really get everything how I wanted it to be. But I ended up fiddling with the rotation a lot. And that's something you could probably offset by knowing which pieces you're using, but I just wanted to be completely blind going into this and just kind of use whatever parts that I thought looked good in the asset browser. I was liking how the car was turning out, but I was realizing that I couldn't really fit a person in this, and I was using all of these parts usually with hollow insides, and so it was kind of hard for me to visualize where a character would actually sit in this model. I added this top piece because I thought it was a good way to kind of shield that and get the cockpit look. There were a bunch of different things that I could have done with this. There were probably 100 different pieces that were a little bit better for what I wanted to do, but I was just trying to choose the first thing that I got. And I think that the model actually turned out really good. I think that there's a lot of detail in it that I maybe wouldn't have gotten if I were doing other modeling techniques, and it just kind of seemed to work. And now we move on to kind of standard modeling. This is just taking some of your basic geometry and fitting it where you think it's going to need to go. Something that I really like about this technique is that you can change things pretty evenly. Like I'm just really beveling up or down and moving certain vertices, certain edges. But you can get a lot of style from doing this. Sometimes it feels a little bit more like your own creation when you're actually doing the mesh. And just doing these small ideation techniques, just using basic meshes, can be a really good way to start out. I didn't have any idea of what I was going to create when I started this video, but something that I found is taking the pieces that you've already modeled and then using them other places in your scene is a really good way to unify the piece. Here, I just start beveling out some wings. Maybe I thought that it would make it look a little bit more dynamic. I think it was a good choice in the end. And that concludes the modeling portion of this video. With the modeling complete, what's the verdict? Well, first off, I like the process of kit bashing much more. Using pre-made pieces gave me more creative freedom to design because I was using complex pieces instead of filling in the details in my head. One drawback I found to kit bashing was the car was very dense in vertices, and that might not be conducive to your animation or project that you're working on. For regular modeling, the time process was a little more daunting. I started with the large characteristics of the vehicle first, so I had something to show for the time, and then added wedges whenever I felt like I needed more detail. I should note that while this mesh definitely needs a few more hours, it will be way more editable when I get to the polishing stage, and because I designed this from the ground up, it's possible I'll have more control over it in the future. While both methods of ideation are completely viable, I think I'm going to name kit bashing the winner here. If I had to show off these models as a concept artist, a client is going to be way more receptive to the built-in details the mech parts have. This is especially true if you're a beginner modeler and don't have the time to use intricate modeling techniques. That's going to be the end to my second YouTube video. If you've enjoyed the breakdown and want to see more videos of mine in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel for more Blender content. Thank you so much.